Hello guys, welcome back. Last video, we were making operation with mixed numbers and we got one exercise left. We didn't do in the last video that it was the division of these two mixed numbers. Pretty much the same mixed numbers. We already convert these numbers into fractions. Remember that that's our first step. Before we do any operation with mixed numbers, we got to convert them into fractions and then we can make the operation. So we already know that 1 and 2 fifths is equals to 7 fifths. And we already know that 2 and 2 thirds is equal to 8 over 3. So actually, what we are doing in here is dividing these two fractions. If you don't remember how we get these answers, my advice to you is that you go back to the previous video and check how we did it. And so now what we're going to do is a division of fractions. But remember that for dividing this, we're going to use the reciprocal of the divisor, that is this one, and we're going to turn this division into a multiplication. So what we got in here, it would be 7 fifths. We change the division for a multiplication and we use the reciprocal of 8 thirds. That is just changing the position of the numbers. So this one goes to the top, that is 3, and this one goes to the bottom, that is 8. So now we got a multiplication that is really easy. Remember that when we multiply 7 times 3, that is the numbers of the top, times the numbers of the top, and the numbers of the bottom times the numbers of the bottom. In other words, numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So 7 times 3, that is 21, and 5 times 8, that is 40. Notice that in this case, we got a proper fraction. And as long as this is a proper fraction, we cannot uh, convert it into mixed number, because the only fractions that we can convert into mixed numbers, they are the improper fractions. So we finish with this, our exercise, and I want you to guys to make a review of what we have practiced by doing these exercises. Try to do them. Again, this is not mandatory, but this is practice and it's going to be really useful for the work that you're going to do later on. So do them, and when you finish them, um, or when you're doing it, do doing them, if you got any questions, you can ask me, and you know my schedule, and I'm going to be there for you. So thank you for watching, and see you next time when I'm going to explain to you how to solve problems with mixed numbers. So hello you guys, it wasn't too long because I'm going to take advantage that I have time for in here, and I'm going to explain to you how to solve a problem related with mixed numbers. So let's go. We're going to focus the problem in the work that we had been doing, that is geometry. So for our problem, we want to find the perimeter and the area of this triangle. So we got the measurements, the length of each side, also the height. And for solving this, the first thing that you have to do or to take into account is to know what the perimeter means for a figure. Yes, or in this case, what the perimeter means in this triangle. Remember that the perimeter is just the border of the figure, and then if we want to find the perimeter, we need to add the length of the border of the figure. And in this case, the perimeter of a triangle is just the addition of the sides. So we got to identify our sides and we got to add them. That is going to be 6 2/3, that is this side, 8 1/3, that is this one, plus 5. And notice that I write down P T, that is the perimeter of the triangle. And this thing that is a sub-index is like the last name, as I have already told you. But in order to find this perimeter, we got to convert this mixed number into fractions, but also this integer number into a fraction. So that is going to be our second step. So we convert the mixed numbers and integer numbers into fractions. So let's get started. 6 and 2/3 is equal to 6 plus 2/3. We got to add these two numbers. This is a whole number plus a fraction. So we make the whole number become a fraction by placing a 1 under it. So this is going to be 6 over 1 plus 2/3. Now we need to find the least common multiple between 1 and 3. So we can amplify the first fraction and make them like fractions. So we got to amplify this by the least common multiple, but the least common multiple is just going to be 3. So as long as it's 3, this fraction doesn't change, but this one must be amplified 3 times. So that is going to be like this. In here we got 6 times 3 and 1 times 3. 6 times 3, that is 18. And 1 times 3, that is 3. So we got 18 over 3 plus 2/3. So we're going to add this, and that is going to be the same denominator, and we add denominators. That is going to be 20 over 3. Now we're going to convert the second mixed number. The procedure is the same. So we got the whole number plus the fraction that is 1/3. That is going to be an addition of a whole number and a fraction. And for adding that, you got to convert this integer number into a fraction. So we place a 1 under it. So this is going to be like this. Then we got to find the least common multiple. We already know that the least common multiple between 1 and 3, that is going to be 3. So we need to amplify this fraction, and this one we're going to leave it like that. So this is going to be like this. We amplify the first fraction, that is 8 times 3, that is 24, and 1 times 3, that is 3, plus 1/3. And this is going to be 25 over 3. And then we're going to convert our integer or whole number into a fraction. So we got in here 5, which is the same as 5 over 1. And the third step is that we're going to use the equivalent fractions that we got in the second step to find the perimeter. So 6 and 2/3 is equal to 20/3. 8 and 1/3 is equal to 25 over 3, and 5 is equals to 5 over 1. So the perimeter of the triangle, we got it at the beginning with mixed numbers. Now it's equivalent to add these fractions that we have in here and these improper fractions that we got in here. So notice that the first two, they both have the same denominator, so they are like fractions. But this one doesn't have the same denominator, so we need to find the least common multiple between these three numbers. We already know that it's 3, so the only fraction that we're going to amplify 3 times is going to be this one. So we're going to have 20 over 3, that doesn't change. 25 over 3, that doesn't change, and this one amplified 3 times, that it would be 5 times 3 and 1 times 3. So when we make this operation, the perimeter of the triangle is going to be the first two quantities of fractions that didn't change, and find 5 times 3, that is 15, and 1 times 3, that is 3. Now remember that these are like fractions. We left the same denominator and we add the numbers that we got on the top. That is going to be 60 over 3. 3 because we left the same denominator and we add the numbers on the top. That is going to be 60. So the perimeter of the triangle is going to be 60 over 3, but we can simplify this and or see that 60 is divided by 3, that is going to be 20. And in here we place the units of measure that in this case were yards. So this is going to be the answer for the perimeter. Finally, the SXRs also asks for the area of the triangle. So our first step is to understand what does area means. And in this case, the area means uh, all the things that are inside the border. So this space that is inside. And we got a formula for the area of the triangle, which is base times height divided by 2. So then we need to find uh, each side or each value on this in this formula. So the base in here is 8 and 1/3, and we already have that. The height, that is from the base to the part highest part on the triangle, is 4. And as you can see in here, 8 and 1/3 is already turned or convert into a fraction, because remember, what we need to do is to convert everything into a fraction to make the operation. So I'm going to first do base times height, and when I got that answer, I'm going to divide that into 2 for finding the um, area. So the second step is going to replace the values into the formula and perform the operation. We already know that the base is 25 over 3. That is our improper fraction. We're going to multiply that by the height that we already know, that is 4. And remember that this is the multiplication of a fraction times a whole number. We got to turn the whole number into a fraction. So we're going to have 25 over 3 times 4 over 1. And as usual, the multiplication of fraction is just numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So we're going to have 25 times 4, that is 100, and 3 times 1, that is 3. So we got 100 over 3. Meaning that the area of the triangle, because we have found in here that this is base times height, this is the answer, and we need to divide this into 2. So we're going to take this part and we're going to divide it into 2. So that is 100 over 3 divided by 2. But remember that for doing this operation, we got to turn this into a fraction, that it would be 2 over 1. And we are going to use the reciprocal to turn the division into a multiplication. So we got 100 over 3 times 1/2, because I already made this like a fraction. Then we make the multiplication, and that it would be 100 times 1, that is 100, and 3 times 2, that is 6. So the area of the triangle is going to be 100 over 6. But as you can see, both numbers are even. So we can divide by 2 the top number and the bottom number, and we can simplify the fractions to get 50 over 3. As long as we're talking about the area of a triangle, the units are going to be yards to the power 2 or yards squares. But so in this case it's yard squares. Sorry, I have write down centimeters squares in here, but it was my mistake because the measure was in yards. So this is the final answer. My advice to you is, if you didn't understand something of the operations, remember that I already have explained to you how to do these operations. The bottom line in here is to understand that when you are making operation with mixed numbers, you got to convert them always into fractions, and then you are going to you're going to be able to perform these operations. As you can see, this is improper fraction. So I'm going to ask you as an exercise to convert this into a mixed number. And if you got any question, as I said at the beginning of the video, you can find me in my schedule, and I would be there for you to help you to solve anything that you don't understand. So I hope that we see each other soon. Send your regards. Goodbye.